In the winter semester 2012-2013, the Initiative for Interdisciplinary Media Research is proud once again to present a series of film screenings entitled M, Movies, Machines, Modernity. Organized by Felix Brinker, Ilka Brasch, and Shane Denson, this is the Media Initiative's third film series, following Bollywood Nation in the winter term of 2011-2012 and Chaos Cinema in the summer of 2012. As in the past, each screening will be prefaced by a short talk designed to frame the film against the background of the overarching themes and topics of our series. In contrast to the thematic and formal concerns of previous series, however, the present series revolves around what might seem a rather arbitrary organizational principle, that of a single letter of the alphabet. The titles of our films, Metropolis, Man with a Movie Camera, M, and Modern Times, all begin with the letter M, and it's from this circumstance that the series derives its title. This M, insignificant in itself, is nevertheless transformed into a unifying framework when it's made to stand for movies, machines, and modernity. Alternating between the framed elements and the structure that frames them, the letter M here embodies a reversible and recursive dynamics that can itself be identified as the formal logic of our series as a whole, which in many ways is precisely about frames and the framing functions of film. At stake, then, is a logic somewhat like that of the semi-figural frame that Derrida calls the paragon. Derrida's concept describes a wide variety of metaphorical frames and conceptual frameworks, but it also has a material dimension that resonates with the cinema and its embodied reception, as well as informing the movie's relations with machinery and modernity. Like paintings and similar visual objects, filmic images are perceived within a frame that is at best semi-figural, as it alternates between figure and ground, now serving as a background for the image, now being absorbed into the figural image when seen against the background of the wall. The paragonal frame therefore instantiates a reversible logic that undergirds film's ability to either remain transparent or to become opaque and obtrude as a medium. And these relations and reversals are crucially at stake in our film series, where movies shift between showing machines and other spectacles of modernity, and themselves being machines for making modernity. Indeed, from the beginning, movies have presented themselves as the preeminent machines of modernity. On the one hand, they've served as a medium for imagining and envisioning modern landscapes and machinic cities. On the other hand, the movies were involved directly in the making of said modernity. The image of a machine is often a movie's reflexive image of itself, or of that which it imagines itself to be. These paragonal relations, which formed the core concern of our film series, were established in the period of the cinema's emergence, and they have persisted in various ways, resurfacing especially at moments of transition and change. Early film, as described by Tom Gunning, was a cinema of attractions, and its main attraction was not so much individual films, as it was the cinematic apparatus itself, which was put on display in the manner of a technological exhibition and/or magic show. As Gunning puts it, early audiences went to see machines demonstrated rather than to view films. It was the cinematograph, the biograph, or the vitascope that were advertised on the variety bills in which they premiered, not the Baby's Breakfast or the Black Diamond Express. Again, though, the demonstration of cinematic machines could take the form of a science-based technology exhibition and/or that of a magic show. And we see this fundamental ambivalence reflected thematically in a number of films that, at least in retrospect, we would classify as science fiction, horror, or fantasy. From Méliès's early cinema magic spectacles to expressionistic tales of golems, of Frankensteinian creation, and also the first film in our series, Metropolis, technoscience and wizardry commingle in stories of mad scientists and/or alchemists transgressing the bounds of nature to perform hitherto impossible or forbidden feats. And while the scientific element clearly resonates with the innovative modernity of the cinematic machinery, the equally prevalent focus on magic might seem less easy to square with it. Nevertheless, there's a unifying logic behind this formula of science and/or magic, and it leads us beyond the thematic concerns and diegetic constructions of the films, back to the apparatus itself. For both scientifically coded displays of special effects, as well as the smoke and mirrors legerdemain of the magic show, are designed to provoke in their audiences the same sort of wonder, to make us ask how the spectacle was accomplished. Both types of spectacle therefore involve what Neil Harris has called an operational aesthetic, a mode of engagement that's concerned with how things work. But while a magic show, for example, encourages us to look for the hidden mirrors, ropes, or trapdoors, the enjoyment of the spectacle depends on the answer not being immediately apparent, but discoverable only with significant effort and imagination, in such a way as to remain compatible with the willful suspension of disbelief in the illusion. The pleasure of the spectacle lies not in finding the solution and debunking the magic, but in the protracted maintenance of marvel at the unlikely ingenuity, skill, or technique employed in its execution. This means that there's an ambivalent division of attention between the magic and the mechanics of the magic, or in the case of film, a division of attention between diegetic contents and the extra-diegetic infrastructure of the medium, whereby the machinery itself becomes part of the spectacle. The Lumiere's onrushing trains, scenes filmed from the train's own perspective, Méliès's rockets and the cinematic magic they serve to highlight, the creation of Frankenstein's monster or of the artificial woman in Metropolis. All of these spectacles involve a similar oscillation between the machines they depict and the machinery of their depiction. And in this respect, they're tightly imbricated in the fabric of modernity itself, connected not only thematically but also spatially, materially, and technologically with the world's fairs, expos, amusement parks, and technology exhibitions from which they arise, and with the urban sites and settings of the modern city, with its technicized transportation and communication systems. The movie as a machine, film as a frame, is therefore defined by these oscillating motions and by the reversible margins drawn around visual and narrative objects, which allow the cinema itself to become a spectacle of kinetic energy, machinic and preeminently modern. The 4 movies selected for our film series, Metropolis, Man with a Movie Camera, M, and Modern Times, offer a range of different perspectives on the machine age, and a variety of opportunities to think about the movie's relations to modernity. German, Soviet, and American in origin and vantage, ranging from futuristic to experimental, from gritty and grim to comic, and variously arrayed around the technological and cultural transition from silent to sound cinema. These films invite us in different ways to reflect on the cinema's function as a machine for the production and not just reflection of modernity.